Studio. And there we go. Hey, everybody, it's your boy, Doc Williams. And again, we have a wonderful show prepared for you. This is Build With Me. If this is the first time you're watching, this is about you taking your ideas and start taking action. We have a great guest star in store for you. We're going to be introducing him in just one moment. But before we begin, come with me. Again, everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Let me know where you're watching from. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitch, if you're on Trevo, if you're on any of these platforms, make sure you say hello and drop us a line. Now, before we really dive into it, we want to introduce our guest star who's in the house today. We have Andrew, the CEO and co-founder of Insured Nomads. And first of all, Andrew, thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Doc. Thanks. Glad to have all you guys listening, watching, eager to see questions that come up. It's a pleasure.
Excellent, 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 excellent. Yes, thank you so much for taking the time. You're very busy and making sure that you're here and helping ones that are starting their business, thinking about what they're going to be doing. This is going to be great. So remember, in the chat section down below, wherever you're watching from, we've got how many different places? We're on Facebook. Yeah, we're on D Live. A lot of different places. So let us know where you're watching from in the questions that you have, and I'm going to be talking to Andrew about it. So, yeah. First of all, let's get started with this. Andrew, tell me a little bit about yourself. And before we get to Insured Nomads, tell me how we even got here.
Whoa. Okay, that's a broad question.
We like to start broad.
I guess, yeah, back in my early 20s, I think I was 20 already. I stepped out of a Virgin mega store. They're not in existence anymore, but this was in Amsterdam, and it was a music store owned by Richard Branson, the Virgin Atlantic, Virgin Music, you name it. And stepped out of that record store, sat down in a cafe at a cafe table, and wrote in my journal that I want to travel the world. I want to marry someone from another culture. I don't want to marry someone just like me. I want to marry someone that's from somewhere else. And the bug had bit me. I was there in Amsterdam volunteering with a nonprofit, feeding soup at the train station and just doing all kind of fun stuff. And it hit me. I don't want to be trapped to work from somewhere. I ended up breaking up with 2 girlfriends after that who said they're not willing to live anywhere. It's like, no, I want to live near my parents forever. It's like, okay, goodbye. Because the bug had bit me. And I'm an entrepreneur. In high school, I was the winner of selling the most candy bars outside the mall before the mall kicked me off the property. Back when you could actually get away with it at the mall entrance for a while, and going door to door selling books all during summer with the summer internship. So being entrepreneurial, doing something that stretches me, that was just part of who I am. But then that has become bigger and bigger as I've, lived and worked across 5 continents over the last 25 years. And then marrying a powerful woman who got her MBA, Master's in Public Health, after she became a medical doctor. So this is we became a power couple that have not stopped when everything else is pushing us down.
Wow. That's a lot right there. Okay. First of all, before we even begin, where are you right now? Are you in stateside? Are you somewhere else? Where are you right now?
Right now, I am in the greater Philadelphia area in the U.S. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Totally new to the area. To me, it's, get to discover somewhere new. Never lived here, never dreamed I'd be here, but loving it.
Yeah. That's awesome. So you're all over the place. We're a little bit later. You know what? I'm just going to ask you now because we're going to go down a different rabbit hole. Your top 3 places that you've lived in.
Ooh. Top 3 places I've lived. Okay, Rio de Janeiro would be on the top of the list, and
okay,
I've got that right in my background just because Rio is in my heart. Second place, I would say, is Amsterdam in the Netherlands. I mentioned it earlier. I go back on a regular basis. We now have team members in the Netherlands, and It's dear to my heart.
Good.
And I would say that next on that list is Ghana, West Africa. And I
Mm,
would go into the Ashanti region, which is, 6, 7 hours north of the capital city of Accra. So that's my number three, but those not aren't necessarily in order of importance. Those are just
yeah.
the top three.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Great. I was just talking to my wife. We're not in probably in the next year or so. We were talking about doing just a traveling around the world and just different stops. So she was building out the map last night. So I just had to ask. I haven't been to Ghana. I haven't been to Amsterdam either. So that we're adding that to the list. We're adding that to the
There you
list.
go.
It's great to hear. So, first of all, we're going to pivot a little bit because what we have on the screen, and people are like, wait a minute, you're talking about insured nomads. Why are we talking about this? I think already hearing from your background, how we kind of are nudged in this direction. Could you talk about how you got the idea for insured nomads and how it got started? Could you talk about that?
Yes. A group of us started Insured Nomads because there is a need for something beyond that PDF of fine print and the mentality of, yeah, fax it into the claims team and we'll eventually get to it. It's a broken niche of insurance that is not adapted with time, that is very distant and has not become tech enabled at all. Whether you're dealing with the giants of the world, whether the giants of Europe or North America or wherever you are in the world, in our space of insurance, it's still very dormant. We won't be holding phones much longer. It'll be something different. But yet, insurance is still such an old, backward system that needs radical change. Because most people are buying something they feel like they'll never use. They're never going to get sick or injured. It's there just in case that happens. But the second feeling is that if I do have to use it, it's going to be difficult. So we're solving both those things. The benefit with a highly advanced tech-enabled integration set so that even if you never get sick or injured, you're going to get lots of value from it.
Now, let me ask you about this because this is I like what you're saying. So basically, you're coming into the space as a disruptor because just so many things are outdated and you're
Yeah.
coming in with a fresh lens.
Yes, because even some of the new folks that come into it are just co-branding an existing product with
Mm-hmm.
a nice website. That doesn't change anything. We don't need to do a fourth edition of the same book just with a better cover design. We need a total shift of what's available. So in international health insurance, maternity is a 12 or 24-month wait. No, with us, it's 10 months.
Mm.
It's essential. So sure, the medical features have to be better, but we're the only ones in the world for global health insurance with a MasterCard connected policy ID card. So that hopefully you don't have to fight to get reimbursed. You can just swipe or use it digitally, as in most cases, when you break your arm skiing or something like that. So it is so different when you're a technical maker. Sure, I came into this because I had represented 25 of the leading global brands. And our president, chief innovation officer, came in after creating the expat plans for Cigna Global and then moving to United Healthcare Global Solutions. He came in saying, yes, better is possible. Let's do it.
Oh man. Okay. We got to dig into this a little bit more. Before we go any further, though, make sure, listen, people coming out of the woodworks, we got to say hello real quick to, that's right, Janet coming back. Well, long time no see. Thank you so much for visiting and being here. And Erica, my goodness, holding down the chat over there. We really do appreciate you. And remember, the reason we're talking about this, listen to what Andrew was talking about. He's taking something from a industry that needs disruption and he's now transforming it and seeing the opportunities. In the chat, let us know what kind of industry you're in that you're trying to disrupt. These are transferable things that you're going to be learning from Andrew that you can be thinking about to start planning out what you're going to be doing with your project and all of those things. Real quick. Oh, look at this, Janet. We were having a conversation about how many shots it would take if we were going to visit different parts of Africa. Janet's saying we only need 2 shots for Kenya. People are really getting involved with this, so thank you so much. um, Andrew, real quick, I would just like to tell the audience, and I'm not sure if you know this, I'm not sure, we didn't talk about this beforehand. I remember hearing about your project because I was watching the No Code Rumble last year with Sanka.
Yeah. Yes. That was so much fun, because we got selected to do a website rebuild, logo rebrand, etc. And that really did help us. But right before that, I had read a book, which I highly recommend for anyone thinking of building. Really, when you listen to something like this, or you're reading, it's not necessarily what you're hearing or what you're reading. It's the fertilizer, it's the soil, that environment that you come away with some brilliant idea. Not even from what was said, but just from your mind being ready to receive what it takes to take your idea to the next level. That book is Make, the Indie Maker Handbook, makebook.io.
Makebook.io.
Peter Levels. Yeah, Peter Levels is the author. Makebook.io. It is a PDF or an ebook only, and it is worth it.
I haven't seen that one. Hold on a second.
Yes.
I'm bringing it up. I'm dropping it in the chat, guys. And it's on sale.
There we go. It is. It's a definite must read if you're building.
Dropping
For
it in the link.
$15, I get nothing from this. I'm just giving you an idea that right around that No Code Rumble time, I had read this book. And the ideas that came, the shifts that took place, also around that time, I read the book, The Lean Startup. The Lean Startup. And never had it crossed my mind that the author, Eric Ries, would become a member of our board. So here, he is a member of the board at Insured Nomads. And to be able to be emailing with him yesterday from concept all the way to bringing in co-founders and team members and opening up offices in Germany and let's see, in London, and team members in Southeast Asia and all around the world, talking yesterday with Rwanda, saying, okay, what's it going to take to open up our office in Rwanda? Is this our next location as we scout out? And the reinsurance providers to build specialized products in each place. And for Honduras, a member of the government there to contact us saying, look, we got to talk. We got to build something custom for our program here. It's just, hotel companies saying, let's build in health insurance for those who are booking their room. So it's just built into the rate.
Crazy.
So embedded insurance, is easy because you buy a television and they say, do you want to protect it? When you're checking out at a store, they're saying, do you want to protect your phone? We'll sell you insurance right now. Well, people buy from brands they trust. So that's why Chicago Marathon, Bank of America, Chicago Marathon said, hey, let's partner with you. That way, these 18,000 international runners coming to Chicago can go ahead and get covered and not forget that fact that they should do it. But it's, people don't think outside the box many times.
I love that. So basically, because you're already having that brand interest, that recognizable, that authority, now you're pairing it with a service. So you don't need to work so hard getting each individual customer. They're bringing them to you, and now it's benefiting both parties.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Wait, hold on. Keisha, thank you so much for joining. Thanks so much for being here. Ask all the questions down below. People are saying they enjoy this. By the way, we got a great crew coming in today watching. Excellent to see everyone. So, and Janet's talking about absolutely. Okay. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say, if you're asking questions and you're saying, hey, Doc, I don't want to ask it in public. Can I message you? Remember, you've got to be part of the Discord channel as well. I'm dropping the link down below. You can sign up with the Discord. That's our own server right there. You can DM me directly, talk to the group, talk to other people asking questions about building their own brand. The Discord link is down below as well. Really good stuff. Now, Adrian, okay, I got a question for you. As we're going through this. Um, okay, I'm. Have you ever heard this podcast called Acquired?
I have heard of it, but I haven't listened.
It's okay. Listen, you're busy. It's okay. And by the way, it because you're busy, it is not the podcast for you. The podcast is sometimes 3 hours long. 3 hours long.
Whoa!
Each episode. So I'm just letting you know it's not a quick one. It's not a quick one. But the reason I bring this up, and as I was talking to Sako is a friend of the show that was on a couple weeks ago. The reason that the idea, don't worry, my camera's coming right back on. I did not lose you. The reason I was thinking about you and we were talking about this was something very interesting. It was talking about Berkshire Hathaway, and they were talking about Buffett, and they were talking about insurance companies and all of these things and how to create one back then. So, what does it really take to create an insurance company like you did right now? Like the moving parts, is it having the expertise, being in the space? Is it the technology that makes it possible? Could you tell the audience a little bit about this, like the layers to think about something to pull this off? Because this seems very difficult, but yet you're talking and it sounds so easy. Tell us a little bit about this.
Believe me, it's not easy at all. It's a highly regulated industry in each country. So there's not one perfect product for each person. And that's one of those challenges, is that people think, okay, well, great, open up in our country. Well, you have to be approved by the regulator in each country. And you've got to have the reinsurance, that financial backing behind every product that you offer, so that if some major catastrophe happens, then everyone's going to get their claim paid. And I think in building this as a technical builder, in working with all the different collaborators, working with the creative agencies, working with every aspect of this, it takes having tenure in the industry. I worked in crisis response. I worked in, and our team members came from various aspects, from building the global provider network around the world for 4 leading companies. And so it takes a team, and it takes the connections in the industry, and it takes being the guts to do it differently and to challenge and say, yeah, that's how it's normally done, but we want to do it this way instead. So guts, boldness.
Do you think what do you think your unfair advantage was? It because you already had those connections? And the reason I bring this in, and I'm trying to tie it into the audience, because what I'm saying is maybe it's not insurance for you that's watching. And but by the way, who just came in? Denise, by the way, I believe Denise, you're new to the channel and watching and you're appreciating. Thank you so much for being here. Let us know your expertise. Yeah, this is great. But what was your unfair advantage that you're like, this is how I entered the market, that so someone can see a parallel for them in their industry?
Our unfair advantage is that we came in with a team of Avengers, of superheroes. And I was really blessed in that from the start, I was surrounded by people who said, I want to take this journey with you, that I'm willing to do it for free or almost no pay, and I'll join. I want to build. And we're almost building in public as we do this throughout this process. A lot of the time, during that no code rumble, you could watch hours of videos of, no, we don't want to communicate, just like X company. That just doesn't do what we want. We are very much a social impact company, in that we're passionate about making a lot of money to give it away. And for us, that's something to where that's one of our main motivators. Sure, we want to protect a lot of people, but we want to give a lot of money away. So that just gives you a glimpse into our DNA of what we're up to and why. But that superhero factor of getting skilled, connected thought leaders to help us get this built has been great since we started in 2019.
That's great. Andrew, and people are like, I need to find a team like that. People are saying that this is great. Andrew, could you tell me? I was interesting that you just mentioned, and it struck me. You were saying because every country is different, all of these different regulations. So let's dive into it, and for ones to think about their MVP and where they need to start. How did you think about your first country or first state? Could you talk about like who you targeted, what country, something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And the MVP, what can you get out first? What are the first uh, goals you can set? Because one, you've got to be willing to be ashamed of your first product. Because if you wait till it's perfect, you've waited too long. And so tackling your first product offering and then realizing, okay, who's the ideal customer for this first? Because no one wants to see a coming soon. They want to see something that is actually, okay, you've got some traction, you've got people buying, even if it's not your ideal product, you've got some stuff going on. And so determining what you can take to market first. And that Makebook is that I mentioned, makebook.io. That's one of those places where you can really refine, okay, am I willing to start over? Am I willing to just scratch it and redo? There's someone that I follow on Twitter quite a bit that it perturbed me for the first year or so reading his post because he changed his premise, his purpose over and over and over. And I thought, what are you doing? But finally, I saw that he landed on the domain, the product, the passion that he's got. And I'm still following the guy, and still seeing what he's building. And it's that thing of being willing to say, no, I was wrong. But as you build in public, people keep seeing, okay, there's something good happening. And regarding the regulatory aspect, when you determine your market and determining the easiest way forward, we launched in the US first with our beta products. Then we launched in Europe. And then when we went live with our main products, we launched again in Europe first because it was more expedient. Banks moved faster, regulatory agencies moved faster, and now it's US, and then it's different countries, different regions. So there are a lot of things to consider. But one, being willing to just say, no, that isn't it. I'm wiping the slate clean.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. And also too, and I see people are saying, I agree, got to keep moving forward, all of these things. That's really good. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's interesting that you mentioned that. There was a couple of our students were trying to do something with events, virtual events, and we had quite a few, but what they noticed and what we had a few pivot to, looking at where the pain point, it was not just virtual events, it was people were freaked out not having the technical support on the day of their conference. And some of them were able to pivot to be a stream producer on the day. They doubled their income just by providing the service of focusing on what the people wanted, not just what they thought the industry wanted, a virtual event planner, all these things, but really detailing and fine tuning their message and who they were going to help. So what you're saying, that really resonates with a number of ones. I really like hearing that. Let's see. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Andrew. I cut you off.
Yes, specializing, going as focused as you can,
Mm-hmm.
so that it's as specific as possible with who your target is. That's a good point, Doc.
Let me tell you. Let me ask you about this. I'm not going to tell you about anything, but Andrew, tell me a little bit about how you were able to listen to your audience. You started going this way with Nomads. Have you had to listen to your audience and maybe pivot your messaging or to a different group of people? Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that is a vital part of this, because if you don't know who your buyer is, the persona of the client, then You're presenting the wrong food at the wrong time of day. It's, serving dessert in the morning when someone's sitting there waiting, saying, "No, I'm ready for breakfast." So those creative workshops can take a long time, and messaging, it's a constant with us. Today, I'm back on the team with other folks from our company and our strategists saying, okay, how do we need to recraft the words? But also coming in from the users saying, okay, but what you're saying doesn't jive with who I am really. And it's labels aren't good for anyone. Somebody may not like the term expat because it seems colonial, from the days of, foreigners landing in another country. But, what's a better label? Remote worker? Not really, because they could be a remote worker sitting at home. Traveler? They're not really traveling, they're living internationally. So labels are really tough because you're landing on different things that resonate with different people. Some people like the location independent label, while others love the digital nomad label, and others are just like, no, I'm just a entrepreneur. And so finding that jargon, finding the language to speak when you're a specialist in what you're passionate about, but not necessarily with copywriting.
Yeah. Interesting. First of all, by the way, Lumjacker, thank you so much for being here. We've got people on our Twitch channel right now weighing in, loving it. Thank you so much. Tell me a little bit about the copy you were talking about. Say, for instance, when people are coming to find you, is it usually out of necessity? They're already in that country, they're in the predicament, or are they planning out their journey and they're thinking about every step of the way? Where do you usually see a lot of different ones that need you?
It's on both sides. People are doing it, planning their budget, thinking, okay, if I can work from anywhere, when the time comes, what do I have to budget for international health insurance? Or, they're just going for 3 weeks. So it's a trip. So they're getting travel insurance, thinking, okay, this is what I need to plan on spending. And then others already left yesterday and they think, I forgot. So I need to get it. So it runs that gamut of, so it changes how you have to speak, because you can't say, when are you leaving?
Yep.
If you've already left. And then the assumption is, I can't buy it because I've already left.
Yep.
So it's, what's your resident country? Well, I don't really live anywhere now. Well, legally, we have to have some kind of resident country. Where are you paying your taxes?
Yeah.
But it's like, well, I renounced. Well, okay, what passport do you enter other countries on then? You
Yeah.
gotta have something. But that verbiage, how do you communicate to people? And language barriers of, okay, this word in English means one thing, but in another language, the word enrollment only has one L in British English. And organization has an S, and others look at it. Traveler has 2 L's. So honor has a U, etc. So how do you communicate? We have our British team in our London office, and they say everything is misspelled, and I appreciate that. But yet it's a thing of, okay, what English do other nationalities learn? And our claims team and our mental health things that are built in, they speak up many other languages. But the instant you start building in all the languages on the website, it gets even more complex.
So I can only imagine.
So creating copy, you got to watch out how you talk, because it's easy to misunderstand people. It's easy to read between the lines.
Yeah. I'm having trouble just in my emails. I cannot think about trying to thinking about localizing or thinking about what I would need to do. That's something else. And having teams to do that. Very interesting. Think about that. By the way, so international audiences, keep this in mind. This is really good. Things I just don't think about. Okay, so there's something that caught my eye, and this was something a lot of people, I already know. Make sure if you're going to raise your hand, if this is you or this is what you're thinking about. This is a lot that we see. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say, someone just joined the community. Yeah. By the
Welcome
way,
to Build With Me.
yeah, thank you so much for joining the Build It community. I totally forgot. Sabrina's in the background telling me when people are joining. Apparently, I'm not sure if they're watching this video or they're watching it from another one. We just got a new channel member. So thank you so much. I forgot. So Sabrina, thank you for reminding me. And that is the channel membership. You can join. You'll see all of our projects, what we're working on, all of those things. So there's a link down below if you want to. Remember, we do this totally free. You do not need to be a member to enjoy all these things. We're just happy that you're enjoying the show. Um, Real quick, this is a lot of times on people's minds. How is this financially feasible, especially MVP? So many people are launching and all those things. Now, this can be very different. I do not know all the ins and outs of how insurance companies and all these things and how this is different from traditional insurance companies. But because of premiums and all of these things, is it similar to traditional insurance companies? How is this profitable for you, or how is revenue for this type of company?
Well, it is, of course, based on the premium, and that's all regulated. So it's got to go through the different channels and all the stuff that making sure you're providing the required benefits according to that region. And then we're eating into our profits to provide more than the medical beyond the policy, since most people feel like that they won't be getting sick or injured. And the insured paper, that stack of documents that's usually fine print that you get with a policy, that's only covering health when you're traveling or living overseas. So anything we add on, like the MasterCard integration, that comes not from the sale, that comes out of the premium. But the premium is actually just covering the health, the underwritten portion. So the integrations of the digital wallet card, the integration of mental health, unlimited time with the psychologist, things like that, all the APIs that we build in so that it is a highly tech-enabled product, that is after the insurance premium has been filed with a regulatory body. So, and taxes are due in different regions of the world. So if we sell it in Germany, we've got to send tax to Germany, because in other countries, they don't take tax off premium. So it's a highly regulated area. And when we're building these things out, it takes a lot of technical know-how. And being one of the technical founders, I actually love that.
That's interesting. Well, you know what? We didn't really touch upon that for a little bit. Andrew, so could you talk about your background a little bit of how were you self-taught? Did you go to school for it? Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, on the insurance side, yes, there's a lot of credentialing and training that goes about in being able to be licensed and understand risk management. On the builder side, it has been a study how to be lean, agile, and a builder. You know, my kids are all pretty grown now. I have 3 kids. They've lived around the world. They've been nomadic. My oldest is now studying diplomacy and international relations in university. But Bob the Builder, this little cartoon comes to mind, and when I see this, I start singing inside me. You know, Bob the Builder. Can we do it? Yes, we can. That means we've got to learn the code. We've got when the next person says, "Okay, here's the API." How are we going to implement that? Or we've got to do a Zapier connection here. How are we going to do that? You know, using Webflow, which is one of the best content management systems out there, to be able to adapt and change things as you go, even though your creative agency may be mastering it behind the scenes. But when you want to come in and say, oh no, we just had a call, we need to change the verbiage on this or that. Working with apps before you drop the 50 to 100,000 or however much into the apps, creating with Adalo, with Bubble, with others, with Glide, so that you can make a prototype of what you know. Then you know what you don't want when you actually do drop the money for someone else to build it for you. So Glide apps, great folks. amazing tutorials. And that's where one of our first apps started, was in the Glide environment. Adalo is another that I think is worth considering.
Mm-hmm.
And, these are on the screen for you guys who are listening. And another one would be Bubble.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're building, it's good to look at hackathons. Look at Pioneer, which is pioneer.app, so that you can get feedback from others. And Pioneer is kind of a virtual accelerator. And it's one of those places where you can meet the people that have done it, that have broken it, that have built something that didn't work, and they can give feedback to you. And with that, don't go in it thinking, okay, can I win this? No, you're going in it to build the community around you who've built things that didn't work, who've built things that did work, and they're on to their next project. So to answer your question, it's a lot of it self-taught, a lot of it still studying, and then learning from the next folks that come in and say, no, to do it, you've got to do this.
Love it. But you know what? I think that's a lot of different ones in the audience that are on that beginning journey to learning through all these things. So this is perfect to hear. Also, too, we have tons of videos. We're talking about different versus videos on Glide versus Adalo, pros and cons. Which ones would you like to start? And we have a 10-minute video of API for beginners, the complete beginners. If you do not know what that stands for, how would I get started? Every time I hear that word, I start sweating. That video is for you. It breaks down how to get started and start understanding how you start looking at API documentation and understanding how to do API calls. So this is excellent. And I did not know about you starting with Glide apps and starting with that. So that's awesome to hear.
Yes.
That is good. And actually, we're having, I think in 2 weeks, we're doing a full breakdown. I think it's like a round robin for like 2.5 hours building stuff in Glide. So this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. Okay, we've got a couple. Remember, if you have any quick fired questions, anything, this can be anything. Remember, this is lightning round. Let us know in the chat down below. A lot of people are really, I just love how people are just communicating in the chat and everything like that, supporting one another. And by the way, remember, if you're going to want to have more communication with the chat and everything like that, we're here every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. But if you want to be part of the Discord, the links being dropped down below in the chat, wherever you're watching on Twitch, YouTube, Trevo, whatever you're doing, you can join the Build It community, ask questions there, and all of those things. Erica's asking, really good question for you, Andrew. How did you start building out your team? So the progression of it.
So I would say LinkedIn is the number one platform for connecting with the people that could be co-founders or collaborators in your journey. Because it's the one method where people actually give you permission to message them. And you can see what they've written in the past. Building out your LinkedIn platform is one of the smartest things you can do in building a company. So shortening your URL in LinkedIn. So if you typed in linkedin.com/in/Andrew Jernigan, you're going to end up seeing my profile there. So it's my name. Just like you would do that for Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and everything else, do it for LinkedIn. Optimize your profile and find people that would give you 10 minutes of their time just to give you some input, some ideas. And watch the clock. Don't go over your 10 minutes because that's what you ask for. And be a student of people who've been there and done that. And be wise with who you ask, of course, because if I'm messaging Richard Branson, he's probably not going to give me 10 minutes. But there are people on our team that I actually did ask, can you give me your insights on the industry? And they ended up saying, hey, tell me what you're up to. So I had the chance. And they said, I want to be part of it. So, and that was through LinkedIn.
really good. I like it. So, okay, building up that network. And do you think, how big of the ask? Does it just depend, you're saying, or should they already have a scheduler for themselves to make it easy? What would you suggest? Just easy things.
Yeah, I would definitely utilize, don't spam people on LinkedIn. Just because you connect with them doesn't mean they really want to hear from you.
Yep.
They just added a connection. So it's a thing of, be very courteous with your time, because they can quickly just remove you or disconnect, and then you wasted your time and theirs. But being willing to just be a student. I am talking to myself right now as I say it. I need to learn more. Need to realize that where my mistakes are for today, and find someone who knows more than I do to learn from them within their context and see what things I should apply from what they share.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. That's right. Clip that. Wait, people are trying to figure out what they need to do to clip that. That section right there was gold. Really good. We got two more quick questions. This is lightning round, so we can get out on time as well. So thank you so much. We've got Ruben's asking a question talking about, I want to build a Zillow style website, similar functionalities, map 360 virtual tours, etc. for a different market. What no code tool would you recommend? Ruben, we got you. Thank you so much for being here. One thing I would say, unless Andrew, you want to go first, I have an answer for him, but do you want to go or?
Well, do you want to go web first or do you want to go mobile first?
Yep.
And if you want to go mobile, which most people are viewing from their phones, and if it sounds like a Zillow, they're going to be doing it when they're driving down the street or when they're sitting in a doctor's office somewhere on their phone. So you can have the landing page in the computer, web-based, and potentially only app-based.
Yeah.
So
yep.
That's a very easy thing to replicate with Glide to start with. So I would come on that roundtable right here with Doc in the next one of these next sessions and learn about Glide, because I would highly recommend going mobile first, going app store first.
Yeah, agreed. I'm right there with you. And Ruben, and he's saying mobile, great stuff. Remember too, what I would say is I would go with Glide, and I would also say, Ruben, I'd put this to you. Have you already tested who would want this? What's going on? Have you already declared that someone wants something from you? What makes it different? Is it an area that Zillow doesn't work? Or are you in a different part of the world where it's not prevalent? What can you give of value that's going to be different than Zillow before you go gun-ho on that? But Glide, I'm right there with you. Yeah.
Yeah, there's one thing too, if I can comment to you, Ruben, is that get some potential customers within your segment, leaders that would say, I'll be an advisor. As you build this, I'll walk along the way just on an advisory board, or as an advisor. So that you can also, when you're pitching this in the future and as you're building it, not just getting their input along the way, but as you grow it, you can say, these people are your advisors.
Mm-hmm. Gold. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. One more question. Well, I'll make sure we get you out on time. We got a question. Thank you very much. Trip Killer, my question is, how do I know if your no-code app has been overbuilt? Meaning that I put so many features in it when I need to actually build this out and find the time cost to be prohibitive. Andrew, your guest, I will, if you want to go first. I have very strong opinions on this, but whatever you would like, I will let you go first.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple is my thing. And if you've got too much, also test how it's loading. If you're in Webflow, you don't have to worry about that. But if you're in WordPress, the more you build in, the slower it gets. Go for it, Doc. I want to hear you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's so much. It's very similar to how we're just talking about, Ruben. You need to first test it. If you're thinking about your no-code idea and you have all these functionalities, first of all, what's the feedback that you're getting from your audience? First of all, do you have an audience that is giving you feedback? So just like Andrew was talking about that, you've got to keep it simple. Make it one really good feature and then build on. If you look at Instagram when it first got started, they're not doing reels and all of this crazy stuff live. Guess what it was? It was taking pictures, filters, and then posting, right? Think about your one feature that is better than everyone else in your industry, in your vertical, and kill it like that, then add features. So hopefully, Trip Killer, let us know. Good answer. Good. Everyone's happy with that. Hold on a second. Where is this button? I don't do the laughter button. I don't do it anymore. Yes. Excellent. Thank you so much for the question. And remember, in the section down below for the Discord, if you have more questions, because we do this once a week at 11 a.m. Eastern, if there's questions that we missed, you have more, remember, in the link, I'm going to drop it one more time, join the Discord community, ask questions, and all of those things. Real quick, just so everyone knows, Andrew, where can people keep up with Insured Nomads, keep up with you? Where can they find you?
On social media, Andrew Jernigan is the tag. So LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, facebook.com/Andrew Jernigan, etc. So would love for you to join me wherever you are on social media, Clubhouse, you name it. I'm there. Would love to see you.
Excellent job. Andrew, please hold tight. For everyone else, thank you so much for joining us. Remember, there's tons of other videos. And if there's not a video that I cover or versus video, let me know. We always make videos every single week. And there's a new video dropping tomorrow as well. So stay tuned. That's going to be dropping at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You're going to see the premiere with that. And again, everyone in the chat, Erica, you're an all-star, always chatting everyone up. Janet, thank you so much for coming back. You're busy. Can't wait to talk to you a little bit later. Everyone, Ruben, ones that are just coming in, you're awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next week on Build With Me.